contender to take one of those top spots.
Yeah, a win over British Hurricane would legitimize them as a team, because at the moment people can lean towards the thought process that beating Angry Titans was a one-off. You're not, no one says the phrase two-off, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited to see how Miles plays today, because he had a fantastic week last week. And I was one of his critics at the time. I said the guy wasn't that great back in Season 1. He was a bit of a tracer one trip. We didn't see too much out of him, but he was fantastic last week and could be the piece in the puzzle that sees British Hurricane go down.
Nash is already running out on that Sombra. Going to get a scout and a read onto his money crew. Oh, that's an isolated Colsty. Taken straight to the grave. Don't know what he's doing there by himself, unfortunately. And that's definitely going to be first cap going over the British Hurricane.
They rolled out with such an interesting comp as well, coming in with, it wasn't quite Goats as we tend to call it, dive Goats, bringing in both the Winston and the Hammond to try and get onto the point, or Wrecking Ball as we should be calling him, I suppose. You also had the Doomfist and the Sombra, so it was kind of a hybrid of the two. And very risky as a comp style. You're relying on getting on top of the enemy team and crushing out a couple of key members. Nesh in the backline can potentially hack out someone in the back, and they can dive in and kill them like they're doing now.
Call it what you want. I'm just saying it's aggressive as hell. Numlocked already getting that kill onto Zeal. The Brigade gone down. Izzy being found out by Bocket on the Zenyatta. Barbecue, of course, going to answer that back as Dan is charging up. That Rocket Punch goes in. Misses the uppercut on Tri-Spear. Still going to commit to the kill. Gets those pellets out into the back of the head, securing another kill. And it's another wipe for British Hurricane.
Yeah, it's just this kind of ability now that I think is going to catch them off guard a lot. This diving straight into the backline all the time. As soon as a hack comes through from Nesh, you've got 3 members, if not 4 if you're looking towards Yofi, that can get in the backline and jump on that hacked member. Shoes Money crew are responding. They're saying we're aware this is now a problem. Let's bring out the McCree. We're not going to be able to run Goats into this one. Bring the McCree. We have the stuns. If we can catch out Nesh, this can go our way. But they're playing against an EMP. Things never go well against an EMP.
This Super McCree composition that SMC are going to run out with. Protect McCree, he'll do you well, but if he's EMP,
no, he won't.
He's just going to get elbow dropped by Daned, and the Rocket Punch comes in onto Izzy as well. Hurricane very handedly and very decisively keeping control of Mecha Base here on Busan.
And now they've got more ultimates to rotate off the back of this as well. 5 of them, in fact. And Hurricane, just off rolling out with this comp at the start, have built ultimates up back-to-back in fights. Now they're being able to chain them back and forth. Shoes Money crew are stuck until Tri-Spear can get that Transcendence online. They will just keep on getting dived on by the team with their ultimates online.
Luciofi has that sound barrier ready to go, as well as Bocket with a double support ult, but it's actually Happy kicking things off with the minefield in the middle of the team. That was a hacked up Zeal. Not much he could do there, and Colst is going to fall victim to those mines. Tri-Spear, easy pickings. This has been absolutely flawless from British Hurricane.
So far it has been extremely flawless, you might say. Yofi, I think their first kill or first death of the round so far, and they've still got 2 ultimates to play with. Not that they need them, they're still going to completely close the round out.
Very dominant open from British Hurricane, and for a team that had such high expectations on their trials run back into Contenders, and like I said on the desk, losing a couple of those players to Overwatch League offers and academy teams across NA, it does raise the question, did they lose that extra steam or extra gas in their tank, and are they able to reach the stratosphere of a Contenders final with the, some might argue, lesser parts?
As it stands, well, potentially. With this new change coming in here with Danid, it brings a lot of flexibility. And they mentioned on the desk and were speaking about why not Flippy, why is Danid now the one coming in. Yeah, Flippy, again, to all his testament, when he came in, we said this guy was a big Widow player back in Season 1. Other than that, we haven't really seen him play much. And his Brigitte last week was fantastic, but you miss out on things like the Doomfist, like the Genji that we see come. In fact, I lie, he played Genji back in Season 1 quite a bit as well. Ooh. But Danid brings that Doomfist, which lets you do so much in this meta, that flexibility, and when he's had that consistent Contenders exposure and experience, why wouldn't you bring him into a roster like this to replace Kip?
Why wouldn't you? It's very hard to find direct replacements. I feel Yofi was
job well.
I feel Yofi was like almost the best replacement you could have got for Funny Astro under the circumstances in Europe. And Danid's already putting in the work and trying to fill those very big shoes left by Kib. He's had an excellent debut so far. Quarter of the way towards his ultimate. First fight won for British Hurricane. We spent
a lot of yesterday's game speaking about Goat's composition. Just as a quick refresher, you're looking out for when the barriers get used by either side and when the stun comes through from Brigitte. When that barrier is down, expect them to go for the big engage.
And look at that, the protective barrier coming in for Numlock. Protecting while his shield's down. It's the most obvious play. Get some free charge and a couple of the swings of the hammer in. Not having to use that barrier himself to protect himself. Bocket moving around to the side. Getting close to that ultimate. Nice little dink there. Going to feed that ult charge even more. 2 charges go in, protective barriers immediately drop to keep him alive. Colsty still going to be taken out, but they do lose Danid in the trade. Mal's probably working with some high energy at the moment as he's taking out multiple kills. Barbie again follows up onto Numlock, so they've lost their Reinhardt. This is really putting British Hurricane on the back foot, and Bocket will go down with the Transcendence here. He's not going to waste it on a lost fight. Happy Cool just been stored out a little bit longer, but the flip coming in for Shoes Money Crew.
Yeah, Hurricane there, I think we're waiting for ultimates to come online. They were all sat quite far back. You saw the Zenyatta sat just behind this drum here as well to keep himself safe. Shoes Money Crew, they were pressing forward as a unit, and even though they lost Colsty quite early on, it was still a case the members they had online had high charge. Mal's melting down. Happy Cool once he got too close, and you said it yourself, Danny getting picked off is a big one. You rely on that shield bash so much, but now they're going to push in with something else in that Brigitta's kit. It's going to be the rally.
Momentum stopped by the Graviton Surge. First one of the game, blocked out entirely by British Hurricane, as Colsty's going to go and find Danid. British Hurricane still sitting on Graviton Surge until it is, of course, consumed by Barbie. That Shatter dropping down multiple members. Is he getting the kill onto Numlock, Rouse, and the rest of these merry men moving forward and taking the fight back to British Hurricane, undeterred by that dominant first round.
Absolutely, and I think Shoes Money Crew knew that coming into Sanctuary, you were likely going to come up against something with fire in there, because of course you can dip, duck, dive, and dodge around all these different elements of the map, all the different architecture and geometry. Coming up against Goats versus Goats, they maybe fancy their chances a lot better. They won't get caught out by Dana's Doomfist the same as they did on Mecha Base.
Well, here's a sound barrier, and it basically triggers a one fight again as Mouse burns through Danid. That extra confidence that comes with having that sound barrier is really allowing SMC to play more aggressive in that particular engagement. They are running low on ultimates. They've fallen behind what British Hurricane can offer, so some might say this is definitely British Hurricane's time to capitalize and flip the point back.
Although Danny got caught out there by the sound barrier, there will be questions around the growing pains of this roster, as they've only just got Danny included. You know, he's had a lot of time practicing with his old roster on August and Hungary, this Goats composition and their play style of it. Hurricane will play it very differently. Well, already he's gone. Forward. Yeah, Danny's gone down again. The Rocket Flare whip taking him out. Zeal being the one in the mirror head-to-head. Trisphere is committing the Transcendence, so is Bocket, so they're going to lose both those ults for the next fight. Graviton Surge pulls them together, Self-Destruct is there, get the shield up, block that damage, Happy finds a double, they don't get anything on the other side for SMC. They've covered for the mistakes of their Brigitte, and they're going to get the retake at 99%. This is pretty ideal for SMC, though, as now they've forced it to 99. All they have to do is win one single fight, and they can take this away from Hurricane. Biggest problem they've got to play into here is that they're going to be worried about the possibility of 2 potential fights, but going Hurricane's way, and they lose the round and lose the map.
Danny switched off heroes, I believe, there to potentially get back to the point in the event he needed to stall out time. So any ult charge he did have on the Brigitte, he's lost while he's gone back to that hero to maintain this defense. SMC walking in with that Colsty Shatter. Nesh has a Graviton Surge ready to throw down. Let's hope that Barbie doesn't eat it, and he's not going to be able to. Follows up with the stun, trying to block the shield. There's no combination there to follow up on the grab. Oh, Shatter will find Danid. He's taken out, the only member to drop in that instance, as Happy Cool's going to get demeched. The kill feed's still looking fairly balanced for now. Happy pulls out the Bunny Blaster to take out Zeal, and Nesh is in hot pursuit of those supports, and without that movement speed, not looking very good for Tri-Spear. Will get healed out, forcing out a trans from them. 90% for British Hurricane. Shoes Money Crew have one more offense.
I was really not sure about that Transcendence at first, but it was smart because they would have been staggered out and have to take a 5 versus 6 if they were going for it. So it looked like a mistimed ultimate with only 2 members left alive. It was in fact very smart because now they can come and touch the point.
But Bocket does have that Transcendence to burn for British Hurricane in the engagement, and when the barbecue's already been demeched, you're missing a lot of resistances. Shatter will find Zeal, a lot of damage coming out. Numlocked with a swing and a hammer, finding Barbecue as well as that aforementioned Brigitte player. Nesh then burns through Colsty, moving forward. Graviton Surge in his pocket, but he's not going to have to turn him out today. He can keep his hands nice and snug in his trousers. 2-0 to British Hurricane.
Yeah, Hurricane, it feels, almost catching Shoes Money Crew with their pants down a bit there, especially on the first round with what they were rolling out with things like the Doomfist. There was no response on the other side, but second round on Sanctuary was much closer, and in fact that gives me a bit of hope for this series that it is going to be a pretty close affair. Going to 99-99 and beating British Hurricane 3 or 4 fights in a row, that shows these guys can play. It's just a case now of actually turning that into map victories and keeping this series nice and close.
And it's difficult to spot. We did put a lot of it on Danid dying quite early in fights, but it is ultimately difficult to spot. Is that a Danid issue, or is that a team not synchronizing with Danid necessarily on this opening week, right?
Half and half, I think. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, a couple of times he did go in and then get baited by an ultimate from the other side, and he instantly died because they could push forward aggressively. A couple of times he did go in and get caught out, and again, maybe that's that August and hungry British Hurricane monster inside him wrestling for control. Over the course of the weeks, and maybe even this series, you will see that begin to develop into more of a Hurricane-focused sort of style.
Battle of Daned's Inner Demons on his opening week here for British Hurricane. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, going to bring you map number 2. Welcome back to Overwatch Contenders. Map 1 has already taken place on Busan. It is, of course, British Hurricane leading the series so far. 2-0. Very close on, very dominant on the first map, shall I say. Not so much on the second round, so still signs of life from SMC coming in against the monstrous British Hurricane with new addition Daned. We're about to jump into map number 2, Hybrid, of course, and we're going to find out what it is shortly. But Des, thoughts so far on this series and thoughts on Hollywood, which is where we're going.
Well, with the 2 rounds we've seen so far, we mentioned it before the break pretty clearly. They were very night and day, I think, in the way they played out. Maybe not fully night and day, more like twilight, you might say. First round was entirely British Hurricane. The second one was a much closer affair between the two sides. And I think the first, surprisingly, was the team with the changes coming in being the one to actually affect and upset the other team by providing something they didn't expect in terms of the they had the Wrecking Ball coming out, they had the Doomfist coming out, the Sombra. Bit of a weird mix that we haven't really seen teams employ before, and that's what caught them off guard. But now we go into Hollywood, things might settle down at least a little bit, because you can't really, you know, that first round, I'm not going to say it was cheese, but you win one fight, you back up ults off that, you win the entire round from there.
Well, speaking of settling down, Dan is still on that Doomfist. I don't think he's going to be settling at all. Nesh running around with the Sombra, so the same DPS duo we saw in that dominant first round. Happy Cool going to be on to his more notable diva.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that Shoes Money Crew chose to come to Hollywood, because on Numbani, a lot of the walls are too high for Doomfist to be able to shift up onto, so it makes it a lot harder for him to play. And they know they were coming up against Danny. They'll have known what this roster is ahead of time. They would have been able to choose this map pick knowing what they was going to be facing up against, yet they still chose to come to a map that favours him more than Numbani does.
They're operating a, well, Moira flavour of the Monkey Goats. Dive ball, as we've taken the call on it here. Going to be contending Happy Call for that high ground as they start to entrench themselves on the point itself. Danid holding back that fist, ready to jump in at one point, but he needs to find the right moment. Just want to clear some space for his tanks. A little bit too much pressure onto Happy Call. Nesh going down low. He should be able to be healed up. So is Numlock. He's going incredibly low. In fact, as Danid dives back into the cafe, they've given up this point almost entirely, and they have to reposition some kind of defense. Yofi will go low. Danid comes in with the fist on the tri-spear. Mal's moving back round, but a lot of his team has already been taken out. He's rolling as a solo operator. There's, of course, until Izzy and Colsey come in for reinforcements. Mal's going to move around the corner. Happy Call pushing him into that tiny room, bashing into him with the rocket boosters, trying to body block his escape. He's going low. He's getting Lucio to heal him back up, and Numlock's going a little bit too aggressive, gets turned around on, and this is a re-offense from Shoes Money Crew to take the point.
Very back and forth fight being set there. Nesh has got the EMP, drops it onto 3 members. Can they get any kills off it? They might get the DMET. No, just out of range by the looks of it to get that full damage down, but Danid's being pinned down. Still makes it away, but looks like Hurricane about with a few kills on the board.
Well, Danid needs to get some more ult charge and pop that ultimate. It's a good get out of jail free card for the Doomfist. Going to go onto that backline, stop any retreat. Nice fade away, and the shield is there. Danid very lucky to get out of that one. The Brigitte stun coming in just in time to shut him down. Still being stagnated on the point, but I think we're seeing Shoes Money Crew win this out on just spawn advantage.
It feels like it's going that way, and that was a bit of a whiff play coming out of Hurricane as well. The nano boost came through onto Danid. He got no one with it in the end. Even with the ult, found himself getting picked on the way out by Zeal, who's been putting in a shift so far, killing out so many individual members. Looks like they might actually be able to take this point out.
That protective barrier onto a Brigitte, sorry, is disgusting for a Doomfist to deal with. CC, and you can't kill the person who's going to do it to you. 6 bodies on the point, none for Hurricane. Let's give point 8 going over to Shoes Money Crew.
It's a very weird world when it's the Ana who's running away from this dive ball comp, when instead what you're looking towards is the Doomfist on the other side and who he's trying to chase down. Bucket was completely on his own around the back of the houses. I'm not quite sure how on earth he ended up that far away from the rest of the team. I think he was playing lower down the stairs and healing his team were at the back of the point, but they recognized that and basically chased him down and brought him down super quick. So they lost that nano boost earlier when it could have been more useful to them.
A dive ball super impressive against the Ana. Danid being grabbed up with a couple of comrades. Mal's going to burn through that with some high energy. So already puts Hurricane on the back foot. They can't really mount a defense in the initial stages of this part of Hollywood.
Hasn't been easy for them so far. They're still kind of putting the pieces together on this combo. They've got another nano boost online, so Danid probably has a second chance here to make something work out for them before I'd like to see them maybe switch over for the 3rd point and have something that can deal with this Winston Goats or dive ball setup we're seeing come in. The Moira just enables them to go 6-0, all in, everyone dive in, pile in and try and kill a backline target, as opposed to a Zen who generally is pretty squishy on his own at the back.
And very static as well. Bucket getting the biotic kill onto Colsey, who's a little bit too aggressive himself, sitting on that nano boost, ready to pump into a member of his team, keep him alive or give him that extra resistance and damage to see through the fight and almost guarantee it. Happy Cool taking out Mouse and pushing him way beyond where the payloads move to, all the way to the spawn room, in fact. Could have a recall from Nesh and just play it slow for Hurricane. They've got control of this game now.
And if everyone's wondering what the Anas keep on doing whenever you're watching them in the POV cam, is they keep on kind of half zooming in, then zoom straight back out. What they're trying to do there is get the zoom in, because that's when your shots become hit scan. Otherwise, they are projectile, they travel slower. If you get that instant zoom in, then click on someone on your team, they get an insta heal, you zoom back out, and you can see a much wider perspective once again. That's why you keep on seeing Bucket do things like that.
And it's also it's almost a frame perfect trick to get it just right. I don't think it's quite actually frame perfect. EMP certainly not going to allow them to optimize their healing necessarily. Meteor Strike comes in, Danid follows it up with a double kill. Colsey and Izzy looking for the 3rd. Maybe he'll get his revenge. Zeal going to be victimized by that one. No longer will he be able to shut him down. As another chase back to the spawn room. They're in hot pursuit of Moira, but the fade away and the mobility she has, easier said than done.
I love that you're just like, yeah, 4 heroes gathered around Doomfist. Surely the 250 HP hero must die. Not in this case.
Hang on a minute, he's got 400 HP now. What's going on here?
He just keeps on stacking up those shields all day long, and they just can't bring him down before the rest of Hurricane is there to finish off the stragglers. Finally, it feels like Hurricane have found their answer, though. They have managed to stop Shoes Money Crew for a couple of fights now. We're down to 1:45 for them to get this payload moving towards the 2nd point. Going for a dive up onto Danny in the top ground, already stunned up by Danis.
Danid going to be hacked out. He's not going to be able to move around. They can't get the kill. They don't have the angle. He's quite safe on that high ground. As Happycool's also occupying some high ground of his own, chasing down Colsty, who missed the jump, and now he's forcing out a Primal Rage. Wants to get back into that fight. Self-destruct available, sound barrier being committed by Izzy, and they're still looking to get some kind of frag here. Happy dropping it round the corner. No one in range or in line of sight to be affected by that. Zeal and Colsty picking up Danid and Bocket. Happycool answers with Tri-Spear, but Happycool still chasing down another support, so no supports for Shoes Money Crew beyond the Brigitte. Don't want to commit this rally. She's going to get burned down. I think this is a lost fight for Shoes Money Crew as Nesh going to pick up a double. One onto the Sombra, one onto the Zeal, a D-Mech the boot, and potential for stall if they really want it.
They can go for it. Looks like what they're trying to do there is by leaving Barbie out of his mech, but to be fair, he's already got back up to 70%, so not far away from getting that mech back online. Both sides have got EMP, which will be one of the big deciders in this next fight, and this could possibly be the final fight of the game. Hurricane with that nano boost into the Doomfist Ultimate online is the big combo you're looking for. They could end the game right here if he engages with that boost off the back of an EMP.
Yeah, Nesh has just been escorting Shoes Money Crew into the arena every time. Sneaking up behind him, EMP in the middle of as many people as possible. Shoes Money Crew going to answer with their own, but Danid's already found Izzy. He's going to follow it up with the Meteor Strike onto Tri-Spear, so healing sources, your major ones anyway, have been removed for Shoes Money Crew, as has most of the team. 10 seconds. Here comes an aggressive defense from British Hurricane, holding them right outside their spawn. They don't want to let them get anywhere near the payload for the contest, and you can see they're going for dear life. Barbecue attempting to get some semblance of overtime.
Oh, he got slept.
And Izzy... Don't bully the DJ. He's going to be knocked down. So about halfway through the second stage for Shoes Money Crew, British Hurricane about to jump onto an offense of their own.
I love how Izzy was going for the contest there by speeding onto the point, and immediately Bocket just turns around and sleeps him, so he can't touch the point. He falls asleep. Round ends, and then they think, yeah, now's a good time to kill him now that the round is over. But I find it really interesting how Hurricane's playstyle has changed so much compared to last week. When Flippy was subbing in, everything they were running had a Brigitte in the composition because that's what he was most comfortable on. In Danid's case, he's most comfortable when it comes to Doomfist. So they're trying to run a lot of that on this map, and it makes perfect sense.
I mean, he is looking at going for that Brigitte for now.
Comfortable.
There we go.
Not only comfortable.
Needed to get that clarification out of
I did say most comfortable.
You did, but let's just sell it home that he's not a Doomfist one trick.
He's not
right?
a Doom. He's a fantastic.
Contrary to popular belief.
Well, apparently now he's a Widowmaker player as well.
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. No, hold up. That's who you'd put Nesh on, surely. Nesh would surely go on the Widowmaker.
You'd think so, I think.
It's what he did all of Season 2 when they needed it.
Maybe Danny just doesn't play Sombra. I'm pretty sure he plays some Sombra, but not a whole ton.
Let's focus on the definite, shall we?
Yeah,
let's focus on what we know what's happening. SMC, they're on the map for long enough now. Probably not going to see any change this one. Like I said, Standard Goats coming out of this one. Different to what Hurricane was running, they're opting for that Sombra Doomfist defense. We often see it on Hanamura. It's a bit of a meme there for us because every game we've casted where we've had the Sombra Doomfist defense, it's never worked on point A Hanamura.
I think what they'll do here is we saw a team do it yesterday, was you get a scouting out with the Hanzo, then you switch straight back over onto the normal pick. Danny, I was kind of half expecting to roll out with the Doomfist, but they're going with it with the Wrecking Ball again. Happy's played it a few times today. He's baited me a bit because a few weeks ago I spoke to him. He was like, this hero is genuinely useless. No one is going to play it. Ta-da! They're still playing it.
He's done it a couple of times.
Oh, man. Coaches and players love winding me up the last couple of days, it seems.
Well, they're going for the mirror. They're confident in their abilities to take this to Shoes Money Crew, and we saw on Sanctuary, on Busan, wasn't as clear-cut as they maybe wanted it to. So they move around the corner quite aggressively. Colsty already being put in the face. Danid being stunned up as well as Zeal, and going to trade and lose their Brigitte. They have lost Colsty, so the beefier target and the one that has the more sticking power has been removed from the point. This might be British Hurricane's time to push forward. And like we said, spawn advantage plays into it, but with Numlock being taken down as well, I don't know if you can still win this fight. Nesh will get the D-Mech on Barbecue as he pushes forward, trying to get the right clicks around the shield. Gets it just in time to find Zeal. Mal's off to the corner. Contesting with high energy, Tri-Spear coming in with the frags and pops the Transcendence very early to win this fight. I don't think they wanted to contend with the spawn advantage that British Hurricane were going to have, and they're going to push them back thoroughly.
It was a really weird starting interaction because smart play by Zeal, he came forward and met the shield bash coming out of Danid, so they both got knocked down. Somehow Colsty still got caught in the stun, so he lost his shield and got focused down because of it. Bit of a weird one, but Zeal had the right intent in mind, I think, to try and stop him from getting knocked down.
We'll do it all over again, taking the same angle, Graviton Surge, pulling Colsty in, he's an isolated target, protected barrier is there to keep him alive, he's still up with no Transcendence, he will eventually fall, Danid being the one to pick that one up, as Barbie and Happy go for a little duel on the high ground. Danid and his fellow Reinhardt melee hero going to be pushing him around. do an easy charge down. British Hurricane, they've surely got this point.
I'd like to refer to Blizzard's community guidelines here, where it explicitly says no bullying. That was the only way I can describe what just happened to Colsty. He got solo grabbed, all 6 members surrounded him, there was no sound barrier, there was no transcendence, there was nothing to keep him alive, even with the barrier coming through from the Zarya.
They burned through it.
They were just like, so what, man? And literally just kept on pummeling away at him. Poor guy. That's what it feels like to be a Ryan man in this meta. Feels bad.
They just get juggled around and just bullied.
I was like, Jesus, this is cruel.
Isn't it ironic that the biggest hero is also the one that gets bullied the most? Self-destruct. Over the top, Earth Shatter into multiple members. The shield coming up just a second too late. That should be enough for British Hurricane. They're just going to throw their own into the shield of Numlock. Colsty will follow up with a charge to get the kill. They traded Diva for Reinhardt. Mal's at 100 energy. The solo grab is there. He has a clean line of sight on the back line for Hafikul to take out Tri-Spear and Mounds. Afterwards, 4 minutes on the clock, basically, and they've not got far to go with this one. If
he'd gone for the hero play with that grab, it would have been a huge mistake because they'd already lost 4 members. So they played it quite smartly there as well and held on. But now there's not too far for British Hurricane to go. They got 3 minutes and 45 seconds and about 10 to 15 meters until this second map is theirs, and they go into the half 2-0.
They've got Mouse's grab, so they can stall out and potentially get British Hurricane away. But if they fire it out and it gets eaten, there's not much you can do about it. Transcendence being used early by Shoes Money Crews. They're moving into the fight. It's layered on top with Bucket, and they've thrown in Yofi's sound barrier for good measure in that fight as well. A lot of armor to burn through on British Hurricanes. They're still pressing forward. Numlock's got that Earth Shadow. His boot back still finds multiple members, and they press forward for Nesh to get a triple kill with that high energy Zarya. Barbecue taken out of his mech. Dan is going to follow up with the kill, and no bodies on the point. It's going to be British Hurricane going 2-0 into the half.
It's tough being Shoes Money Crew in that situation.
It's tough being Colsty.
It's tough being anyone on that team, I think, because they basically blind fired Mouse's ultimate into the team when Happy was stood there and like, oh, free grab, yum, 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 ate that up, and there was absolutely nothing left for Shoes Money Crew to play with. No ultimates online, no fight-winning capabilities, and you saw the shadow come immediately out of Hurricane on the other side. That fight was just a very easy thing for them to do in terms of cushion the aggression coming out of Shoes Money Crew and then close it out and win the map.